Man, I love this town. Every day I get calls with questions from people that are considering moving into the area, and they want to know a little bit more about the area, about what makes it unique and what makes it special. Now, this guy is not going to be your typical guide about Northville. I'm not going to tell you how far it takes to get to the airport or any of those kind of things. What I am going to do with this guide is go through some of the nooks and crannies that make Northville unique and special. We're actually going to hear from the mayor as well. So, this is the downtown we're in, but where I'd love to start with some of the Victorian homes right up the road here, Hill, High, Dunbar, and Dunlap. But first, let's get a cup of coffee at one of my favorite coffee shops. Let's go. All right, so in downtown Northville, there are a couple great coffee shops. One of them, Red Dot, is one of my personal favorites. Now, the owner, Arlita, opened this back in 2016. She had bought the property from Hiller's, which was the market next door. And honestly, I'm hoping that she's here today because she's got a really great story, and we can usually find her inside, just kind of working and talking to the residents. Not only are these coffee shops a great way to get a nice, rejuvenating cup of coffee in the morning, but it's also great to connect with the community because it's mostly locals and local citizens of Northville like myself that are here enjoying the coffee and getting some work done. Let's take a look inside. We got the owner of Red Dot right here, and thank you so much for taking the time. I'd love to hear your story, like everything about Red Dot, and I believe it's your 5th birthday?
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. Tell us a little more about that.
So the Red Dot Coffee Company started about actually 6 years ago. We came up with the idea to create a coffee space for people to come in right where they're at in their story. The name the Red Dot Coffee Company comes from almost like the red dot on a map. It says you are here. So I wanted to create a space that people could just come in wherever they're at in their story, have a good cup of coffee, conversations, study, wherever they're at. And we bought the place in 2014, and we took 2 years to renovate, and lots of renovating. And then we opened in July of 2016.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah, and then I see some of the photos here on the wall, which I love, what it used to look like.
That was the front, yep.
Yep. And thank you so much for taking the time to go over your history and your story. And I know you bought the property from Hiller's before Hiller's was Kroger,
yes.
which it is now.
Yes.
And we're going to grab a cup of coffee and go see some of the wonderful Victorian homes over at Hill, High, Dunbar, and Dunlap.
Great. Thank you so much for coming by.
All right, now that we're coffeeed up, and for those of you that know me, you know I absolutely love my coffee. Let's head over to the historic district in downtown Northville and scope out some of these homes. Now, it's a great place to walk, a great place to just feel like you just went back in time 100 years to the turn of the century. One thing that Mayor Turnbull told us during our interview, which is awesome, and you can find a clip of that by clicking the link below in the description. One thing that he told us is there are more Victorian homes in downtown Northville than any other city or town in Michigan. So it's truly like going back 100 years, going back to the time when Henry Ford was very big in the downtown, where he was a huge contributor. And one thing that I always like to do is take a walk down here and kind of pick out, you know, which one would you buy? Which home really catches your fancy? That's a very nice one there. And then last thing about downtown Northville, or about the historic district, it is very tightly controlled by the Historic Committee. So if you're considering making a home purchase here in the Historic District, know that all the way down to the paint colors, approval for a pool, any sort of renovation, roof colors, all of that is very tightly controlled, which could be a negative, but it also could be a positive because they do a great job preserving the community. Let's get out and walk around. I gotta tell you, Carl, these front porches get me every time. Scope this guy out here. One of the things that makes Northville, and uniquely Northville, is there are several parks in the area, including Ford Field East, Hines Park, which is part of Hines Drive, and my favorite, Maybury State Park. Now, Maybury State Park was the first state park in Wayne County, clocking in at 944 acres. This place is massively beautiful. Let's go have a look. Maybury State Park, originally founded by William H. Maybury, was first started as a sanatorium, which you guys probably saw on the sign there. Now, what that means is this specific sanatorium was used to house tuberculosis patients. I'll get it. From the several county area. The thought was by bringing the patients into nature, in the fresh air and the peacefulness, it would help them get better a heck of a lot faster, and frankly, it was true. Originally, there were over 40 buildings constructed on the property. Almost all of them have been torn down. Now, this park has become one of my favorite pastimes, a great place to come in the afternoons. Oftentimes, I'll bring a book, I'll bring lunch, just a little bit of a getaway from the office, which is only located a couple of miles away, right in downtown Northville. Park amenities. Now, there are over 4 miles of paved cycling trails. There's fishing on an 8-acre pond, accessible right off of Beck Road there. There's hiking, and there's actually 8 miles of hiking-only trails. There's mountain biking, so they've got 8 miles of trails, again, dedicated to mountain biking. Equestrian trails, and equestrian is just a fancy word for horseback riding, right? So there are 8 miles of horseback riding trails. And then there are also shelters that you can rent. So there are 4 shelters that are specifically available for parties, graduations, special events, whatever that looks like. Last but not least, there's a baseball field which can be rented by any member of the public. Alright guys, now we're going to head on out of the park. We're going to go to one of my favorite places on the east side of Northville. If you're a Northvillian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But on the way, let's hear about what the mayor feels is the top 3 reasons to live in Northville.
Great things. A lot of people look for 3 things, and I had the Japanese embassy reach out, and they said they love Northville for a few reasons, and it's really the same reasons why I love it. Again, 5 generations around here, we can't seem to get out of here either. But one, the schools are outstanding. The schools are one of the top in the state in every category. Absolutely. So you come for that education. And we have those educational opportunities with Schoolcraft colleges and different campuses from Eastern and University of Michigan and Dearborn. So education is really important. That's one. 2, we have a downtown environment. This downtown environment is the same since it's been from the mid-1800s. We're the downtown social district for Novi, for Livonia, for all the surrounding cities. So that's number 2. So we're in a walkability area that you can walk from our neighborhoods in the downtown. The third thing, which is what we're working on right now, is housing for everybody. I would love to bring in new young families too, to be part of this vibrant activity. We have Northville Downs, which is we're looking at developing 49 acres. That's under contract right now to have mixed use, some more retail, some apartments, some brownstone, some condos, some homes in there. So right in the midst of downtown, you don't see that very often. And we have another area called Foundry Flats, just right down the river. In fact, we're trying to connect everything together. We have a task force going right now called the Riverwalk Task Force. And on that, as we said earlier, we're the headwaters for all the rivers, 3 rivers, the Johnson Creek coming in from Washtenaw County, the Randolph Drain, the Rouge. We'd like river walks on all those rivers. That would connect all the subdivisions, that would connect city parks with county parks to the state park at Maybury, and everybody would have a walkable environment for biking or walking. You're a big biker in the whole bit, so you could be on that. So that's part of the future. We have to have housing for everybody in Northville, so that's an opportunity for us.
For our resident Northvillians, enough said. But let me tell you a little bit about Parmenters. Founded in 1873 by a gentleman from Novi, that's right. Rebuilt in 1983. Originally, the concept was cider and donuts, and since then has expanded to so much more. They've got fudge, they've got nuts, they've got apple chips. Whatever those are, I want them. They sound amazing. Now, if you like cider mills, this one made our top 10. There are another 9 with our video that's going to be coming out shortly. The top 10 cider mills in Southeast Michigan. Be sure to subscribe to get notified when that video comes out, because that one was a barrel of fun to shoot. Unfortunately, we're not able to go inside today because we are shooting in mid-July and their season doesn't start until August 1st. Running from August 1st to the week before Thanksgiving, just short of 4 months, you got to make it a must-go-to, must-see place. Stop in, get some fudge, some cider, some donuts. There's a place to feed the ducks way in the back there with the river, and spend some time here in downtown Northville. And if cider and donuts are not your thing, walk right across the parking lot to get some hard cider, some wine, or some beer brewed right here in downtown Northville. Thank you so much, everybody, for this opportunity to walk through downtown Northville, meet with the mayor, take a look at some of the fantastic things that Northville has to offer. Unfortunately, this video is too short to get everything in. So on our next couple of videos, and again, click to subscribe, click to like this if you enjoyed the video, and then you'll get the notifications. On our next couple of videos on Northville, we'll be going deeper into the schools, into the food, and into a lot of the indoor recreation in the area that we have not covered. Today was primarily about being outside and being in nature and being downtown. We're going to dive in and really chunk down on Northville over these next couple of videos. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.